podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, Daniel, United 3, West Ham 0. That was apparently the record number of defeats in the Premier League for David Moyes, 269 of them. Cracking stat, that is, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I guess that says something about his longevity, and also he's a bit shit.
But yet one of the best performances produced by David Moyes' team at Old Trafford.
Well, yes. 17 attempts. He's also had more attempts at beating United than he actually had games at Old Trafford.
It was kind of funny, wasn't it? That you kind of that season post Fergie, there was just like team after team after team, like your Evertons, your Newcastles, your Southamptons that haven't won at Old Trafford since God was a lad, getting their first win because Moyes was there.
Thank you, David. Yes, well, United won today on 0.8 XG, so I don't know whether that says we didn't create very much or we were just particularly clinical today. I suppose there were some pretty good goals in there and it felt good. Just 22 shots allowed against West Ham. It could have been a lot worse if they weren't so shit.
I felt, like it was a routine win and we haven't seen any of those. I mean, the last United have only won one league game by more than one goal this season. That was away to Everton in November.
Right.
There've been a few in the cups like that win at Palace reserves, Wigan, and Newport. But every other win has been by one goal.
Yeah, wow. It helps when you got your players back, although with Lisandro Martinez hobbling off and Harry Maguire holding his hamstring at the end, maybe we haven't got all our players back. It may have been short-lived, that. Fortunately, not too many games coming up. It's a week between each game until the next round of the Cup against Bristol or Forest. I'm not sure when they play that game, but so not a lot of football coming up. So time on the training field, time to get fit. Lisandro, who I think makes a big difference. Just not only the defensive side of things, just moving the ball out of the back quickly. It really helps United's build-up. So anyway, much better today. I guess it was a little bit loose in that first half. West Ham actually had a lot of shots in that first half, and I felt like Casemiro was giving the ball away and then not quite recovering. He takes a while to get up to speed, and Mainoo probably not quite as good as he was in midweek. A little bit quieter. Rashford and Garnacho couldn't get into the game until late on, but then it really sort of took off. Second half was much easier than it could have been. Even Ten Hag doing his best to bring off players and bring on the mighty Scott McTominay to ruin our game management.
But again, I mean, McTominay made the third goal, and
he did. Yeah.
I would sell him if we got a good offer for him, because is FFP very useful indeed. But as a player to have on the bench who can both get you a goal and give you some level of security with like a bit of height at the back, that's not. Those characteristics are not unuseful. So, if there was enough, I wouldn't be totally opposed to keeping him, actually. On Martinez, I thought it was a bit weird when he got brought off at Wolves in midweek. Not because, obviously it was precautionary, partly because he'd hurt his foot, but then afterwards, Ten Hag said, well, also he'd taken off Hojlund, so he wanted some height at the back. And that part of me that heard that was like, come on, man. Like, you brought that centre-back who is small. You've got to deal with that. You've got to work with that. You can't just take him off to when you might have to defend some set pieces. Also, I would be much happier with him there defending a set piece than Maguire, even though Maguire might be taller, bigger, and thought to be better in the air. I don't trust him. And one thing that's very noticeable at Wolves, because I was quite low down and down the side, as you can see that the defence is being organised by Martinez. And I was surprised that Ten Hag was so willing to remove that if it was just an issue of height at the back, because I felt like, and if you're going to do it, then take off maybe a forward and keep Martinez on. If you're actually going to do that shit, then sort of do it properly. And we just about got away with it, but Martinez, was excellent in that game, and he was good for the amount of time he played today.
Yeah.
It didn't look like didn't look terrible what happened to him, but his reactions suggested he knew that it was a problem immediately. So
well, and he couldn't really carry on. Could have been naughty, really, just kind of falling on him off the pitch. Ten Hag said after the game, quote, "It seems bad. We have to wait and make the right diagnosis in this moment. We're very sad. Hopefully it's not too bad. We can only pray. It looks like he has to sit out some games injured again." So doesn't exactly sound positive, does it?
No. It looked like a few weeks minimum, just by the way that people reacted to it, the way that he reacted to it. He was obviously sore.
Yeah.
And just his reaction was more kind of anguish than pain, because he's thinking, I fucked myself again.
Well, hopefully it's strain of the ligaments rather than actual torn, because torn is months, strain maybe weeks. But we'll see. It's hopefully like coming out of one of our best wins of the season, like that would really put a cloud on it, wouldn't it? Because he's just so important. What with Varane's fitness, Lindelof's fitness, Maguire's oafishness, all of it, it's not awesome. Talking to defenders, I thought our best defender today was probably Diogo Dalot, and I don't say that very often. I mean, he put in a couple of one really excellent last-ditch challenge, seemed pretty buzzy going forward. Luke Shaw, maybe one game too many in his comeback. He was pretty quiet today, as was Rashford. But Dalot did pretty well, I thought.
I wrote even before that tackle, I'd written in my notes that he was having a good game. He's actually been quite a lot improved recently, because I think if you put him in a team with some other good players in it, then he will immediately look better. So that even if he's not the standard that you would like, he could potentially be as good as you would need for a replacement. And I know that I've been saying on here for a while that if I was deciding between him and Wan-Bissaka which one to keep, I'd pick Wan-Bissaka, because Dalot is just a not good enough version of the fullback we need, and Wan-Bissaka is a slightly different option. I feel like I might have changed my mind on that, because ultimately, if we're going to play the way that Ten Hag wants us to play, Wan-Bissaka is fucking useless for that. So I think we need to have a situation where if whoever comes in to play right back, and I assume we will get one this summer, if they're not fit, the person that comes in is capable of playing in a similar manner, and Wan-Bissaka isn't. So, yeah, increasingly I feel like I would probably keep Dalot. But, yeah, he's improving. He's much better at moving into midfield, and with the players that we have in midfield, given one of them's Bruno and one of them's Casemiro, whose legs are gone, we are going to need that support from the fullback is helpful. And it also means that if you've got a fullback who can go on the outside or invert, then it gives you the wide player more options, particularly now it's Garnacho. And one of the things that's been pleasing is, aside from the fact that he's now playing on the right, and it feels like we've solved that problem, we now know it's not really affecting his goal scoring.
Right, clearly, yeah. I mean, he can score from anywhere. All right, let's talk about some of the goals, because the first one, Rasmus Hojlund, now got 4 in 5, scored in 4 Premier League games in a row. Apparently the youngest United player to ever do that, although I'm always suspicious of those kind of stats, because is it just Premier League era, so it's missing a good 100 years of football there. But after a difficult start first half of the season where he couldn't score in the Premier League, he's now getting goals, and that's a nice finish. Shifted it right foot, hit it cleanly. Maybe he's coming good. Also, a sort of through ball or a poked pass from Casemiro. He doesn't get enough of those in front of him. He's having to come to the ball a lot, and I think it really helps him, right? It comes alive when it's in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the Wolves was the best game in terms of all-round play that we'd seen from him. And it was because the Wolves, I remember on the way to the game, I was saying to the boys I was with that it doesn't have to be brilliant or perfect tonight, but if it's still shit, then it's fucked.
Yeah.
Because he had his 1-2-11 in that game, Ten Hag, and if you're not seeing something just approximating to modern football, then you're never going to. And we did see something proper, and I think that was why Hojlund was so much better, that the ball was going into midfield quicker, and that allowed midfield to get him involved soon. So although I agree with you that really, like, you want him in and around the 6-yard box as well, running across to the front post, like for the goal at Wolves. If you're getting the ball into him quickly, then he's able to come short, give it off, and then head to the box. Whereas it was coming so slowly and inaccurately before that he just wasn't able to do anything. And he was getting the ball quickly today. And one of the things I also liked about the goal was there were 2 tackles, one by Martinez and one by Casemiro, that that kept the move alive and kept them boxed. And that kind of aggression is what we've been without for most of the season, and one of the main reasons we've been as crap as we have.
Yeah, Casemiro managed to avoid getting a booking today. He did go in with one sister tackle where he completely missed the West Ham player at Wolves, where he got booked after, 2 minutes. You're just waiting on a red card, aren't you? I mean, he's still a red card waiting to happen because he's just not got the mobility of old, and he's making up for it by flying into tackles.
I mean, that's part of it, and part of it is just post-Fergie wilderness years malaise that he got away with everything the entirety of his career, turns up at United and suddenly his invisibility cloak has vanished and he's just getting busted for absolutely everything. And part of that is him, you're right, like the slowing of legs, the speed of the Premier League, and part of it is just Manchester United, man. Just
I know.
Bad shit just happens to everyone who was previously excellent at swerving it. But he's not played that well yet, but having him there is making a difference.
For sure. It's a much better balance with him and Mainoo in there. I mean, I wish he would, Casemiro that is, just play 5-yard balls. That's all he needs to do. He's just so loose with possession otherwise. And although he is very good going forward, he can't cover back when he does it. So I'd want him to restrict his movement a little bit. He doesn't need to go so forward with Mainoo in there. Or they pick and choose. I mean, it's the Lampard and Gerrard of Manchester United 2024, isn't it? This sorry for making that comparison. But it's much better balance in there. I like it a lot. I mean, Mount could do the job that Casemiro does if he's the forward player. It's just he's not fit. And we don't know when he will be fit because they don't give updates on injured players anymore at United.
No, from what Ten Hag said, though, it felt like not imminently.
Yeah. I don't even know what his problem is. Do we know?
Don't know. I mean, he said he'd be able to play again this season or something, didn't he? Which suggests that he's not coming back anytime soon. And I mean, if you look at our bench today, it's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have Varane, who's had a step. I don't know if you noticed, but there were quite a lot of haircuts in this team today. Bruno had one. Garnacho looked like he'd had one. I think Mainoo might have had one as well. But Varane, do you remember the step? Those of you who aren't old, like Ed and I, so a step, it was popular at the beginning of the 90s, and maybe baggy jeans and baggy trousers in general are back in
maybe
as well. So
maybe
this is part of that. It's where the first time I ever went to have my haircut on my own, I had a step. It was where you have the kind of, they shave around the sides from about halfway down, and then at the back, so your hair is basically graduated onto 2 levels. And it was eventually replaced by the undercut, which created a kind of similar effect, but you'd pull up your curtains like that across, and then they'd shave, give you a number 1 underneath or something. But yeah, Varane's got a step, and he's like about 50.
Well, maybe they had this celebrity hairdresser turning up at Carrington. You know how it is. Varane will have to make a decision about in summer. Obviously, I suspect they take any kind of fee. Same with Casemiro. Apparently, according to today's papers, Al Hilal were in for Bruno Fernandes. United were never going to accept that one. But there'll be a lot of decisions to make in the summer. And on Ten Hag too. He's got 6 months to prove that he's good enough to be United manager. And I don't know what they're looking for as their benchmark, but United still 8 points off top 5, off Aston Villa. Obviously play them next week. That could make a big difference in that calculation. So this was an important win. Moving above West Ham into 6th place. Europa Conference League ain't going to win itself, is it?
I think that almost it won't matter what's happened in the season until this point if we're good for the next 4 months. He'll keep his job, because if we're good with the team and it's positive at the end of the season, then I think Ten Hag will probably be okay. But if it hasn't improved a lot between now and then, then he's absolutely done for.
Yeah, and just having players back fit, obviously, is going to make a big difference. I mean, the ones we've had back so far, shame it looks like we're going to lose Lisandro for a while, which is a big blow.
He made a great block from that Ben Johnson shot.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, incidentally, is a great footballing literary name. He's the Volpone in the box. Ain't have an English gag there.
Wedley played up front Ben Johnson, also on the right-hand side of West Ham's attack. I mean, they were in such a low block for most of this game that I guess he was just an auxiliary right back, wasn't he? They didn't have I mean, for all the shots West Ham had, none of them were really great opportunities. I mean, I guess there's that one save that Onana made from the header in the first half, came off, was it Edson Alvarez's chest? Gufal and Alvarez.
That wasn't a bad save, that one. I mean, I've had enough of this goalkeeper, though. Oh, no. I can't. So even if you look at the Wolves game, right? Should he have saved the second or the third? Maybe. We don't really know because he didn't make any kind of sensible effort. But it's not even that. It's that every cross, so the one that Martinez has to clear off the line is because he's fucked up coming for a cross. He did it again today. Comes flying out, gets nowhere near it, and it doesn't go anywhere. And also just the handling. Like, if Wolves had followed everything in, they'd probably have got a goal or two on the rebound just because he doesn't hold shit cleanly. And it's just it's not feasible. Come on, Arsenal. 1-0 Arsenal, good. It's not feasible to me that he can get better enough. And that because, first of all, as we keep saying, the problem is with his whole manner of keeping goal. But also, if we say that it's just adjusting to the Premier League and adjusting to United, you're a goalkeeper. Like, all you have to do is stop the ball going in the net, which is an extremely difficult activity, but nowhere near as difficult as he makes it look. And if that's his response to pressure, and his response to pressure lasts from August to February, then that is another nah.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't make it feel comfortable at all. I mean, there's even the one shot, I forget which West Ham player it was, the long-range shot, which he sort of punched out as Kufal was following in. You're like, not convinced by the punch. He did get it away, thankfully. I mean, I agree against Wolves, there were a few that spilled. He doesn't fill you with confidence, does he? I mean, he only missed one United Premier League game, and he had like the most disastrous tournament with Cameroon. Turned up late, chucked a couple in, got dropped, fell out with the manager, went back home. I mean, maybe he'll retire for proper now. But I mean, they will have to make a decision on him. Problem is, they spunked 50 million on him, and he's got a 5-year contract. So
he's one of those keepers that will meet in some penalty shootout in a few years, and he'll save fucking everything. Like, dodgy goalkeepers save penalties, and unfortunately, like that is. But if we'd have had Tom Heaton in Europe, we'd still be in the Champions League.
Yeah, probably.
And all it should really need is, of course, it's good to have a goalkeeper who makes brilliant saves that you can't imagine them until he's made them. But if you're good, just someone competent and tidy who won't chuck goals in is all right. I mean, the thing is to play the way we're planning to play, you do need someone with feet. And I don't know how many of those goalkeepers there are. I mean, I'll tell you who's got a good one, it looks like, is Tottenham.
He's had Vicario's had a really excellent season.
Yeah. He looks very good.
Yeah.
But we're not even seeing much in the way of passing from Onana.
No, not really.
And now he's got targets and a team that's actually starting to play well. So we should be seeing that. But
his attacking output, as measured by the various passing statistics and XG chain, they used to call it, is actually much, much down on when he was at Ajax. So, and part of that's to do with the way United can't build up, but partly also to do with him. His passing is not really necessarily what it was built up to be. So, and if he's dodgy with his hands as well, Dave's still sitting out there without a contract. So
he would have saved the Neto goal because he'd have stopped it with his foot.
Yeah.
The problem is he'd probably have come for crosses with his feet as well. So if he'd come, I say that, but as if he's coming for any cross.
It's an interesting one with Dave. He's set out 6 months. He got offered apparently a short-term deal by Forest, turned it down because he, I don't know, feels he can play at a higher level than that. But there isn't a club coming in for him when he's on the free. So. Yeah, anyway, I'm not convinced yet that United have an upgrade there. The second two goals in the second half, both pretty nice moves on the break for the third. I forget the movement for the second. It was a pass outside, wasn't it, to Garnacho to slip it in So, no, it's deflected shot. Yeah,
deflected shot. I mean, it was, but that's it. You have to shoot.
Yeah,
and he and it's that ability that we've now got to. He can come in on. He can still hit him with his left foot, so he's able to come inside on his left foot. He's a killer. He's desperate to get on with it, and if he misses, he doesn't give a fuck. He still thinks he's going to score the next time, and he's got that level of self-belief and arrogance that Rashford doesn't quite have, and you see it in the mongrel in how he competes, and you see it in the fact that he's now started scoring goals and he's celebrating them in the correct manner as well. Enjoyed that. The old sitting on the hoarding celebration. I feel like we might be seeing quite a bit more of that.
That was nice. The three of them, Hojlund, Garnacho and Mainoo, all sat together. Cracking picture. He's started 19 games in a row now. Garnacho has. I mean, he's solidly in the side, and everyone else is competing for the other spot.
You could see it happening. You could see at the end of last season that he was going to be too good to leave out very soon. And there was this thing that he only plays well off the bench, but the sample size of that was so small. Like he'd had so few starts that just didn't seem like a particularly sensible, meaningful criticism. And it would seem fairly clear that he'd soon want Rashford's spot. I mean, I said in pre-season, if I was Rashford, I'd be learning to play centre forward because that left wing spot was not going to be available very soon. And as it's turned out, it's worked out really well for Rashford because it is available because Garnacho, we needed someone on the right and it's him.
Yeah.
But it's the balance that we get from his ability to play on the touchline and go outside. And Dalot can also do that and he's there, but also Shaw's giving you the same on the other side. And it now makes me think about the kind of player that we might want to sign in the summer. That Michael Elise is someone who apparently we're interested in, this is according to the Muppeteers site, where when Chelsea also are interested, but he preferred to go to United. And I think Michael Elise is a lovely footballer, someone I'd love to watch play every week. But I'm now thinking that if we were to sell Rashford, and I would probably take an offer off Paris now, because I think that the money that we could get this summer would be too good. And it will be, Rashford's what is he, 27 now? If you get 100 million quid for Rashford, then that is money that you can fully use all of on your FFP for a player who probably isn't going to improve that much between now and then. And if you don't sell him this summer, you're probably stuck with him. So he's 31, 32, still taking those massive wages. And so much as I'm desperate for Rashford to succeed, and much as I respect him for things he's done that have nothing to do with football, I feel like I'm not certain he'll ever be quite good enough to be a key player in a side that wins the big pots. The thing that might keep me from flogging him, apart from the fact that I like him, is that as a fourth choice, a first rotation, he'd be the best player you could possibly get.
Yeah, so then not justifying the massive wages. I think the thing that might keep the fee down is the wages, though, because even Paris Saint-Germain would look at the total package and it would be astronomically high. Michael Elise, I like. It's kind of interesting. I mean, he is a player who he's a lovely footballer and he does glide past people. He's not at all a traditional wide player, really. I mean, he plays there, but he feels more like a kind of inside player playing out, because he's inverted, an outside player playing in. Not sure, one of the two. But he would be a nice addition. We'll see what United want to do there. I mean, for sure, Anthony doesn't deserve his place in this side at all, based on now 18 months of performances. If only for the fact that there's absolutely zero output. I mean, he got a goal at Newport. He got some praise for that. Not sure.
And an assist.
All right, fine.
Devastating performance.
Yeah, I spent most of the game thinking how shit he was. But Garnacho's got now 5 in the Premier League. I'm not sure how many in other comps. Can't remember off the top of my head. But the output's always just going to be much better. And in the end, if you're a forward, whether it's wide or inside, it does need to be some output, which there isn't with Anthony.
Yeah, 100%. Will always be in the first instance, much as football's quite helpful using the eye test, is what are your numbers. And I think with that right-hand side, I think that what will need to happen is that Ten Hag is going to need to decide what Garnacho's position is. And it doesn't mean he has to stay there. It doesn't mean he shouldn't be swapping with whoever the other winger is. It just means that if you're going to buy a winger in the summer and you need to decide what position you're going to use Garnacho in, because whoever you buy, you're then buying for the side that is opposite to that. And I don't mind if they want to pick him on the left, although I'm enjoying him on the right. But if I bought him on the left, if I decide I'm selling Rashford and putting Garnacho on the left, then the player that I need, I want a right-footed right-footer, I think. And similarly, if I sell Rashford and play Garnacho on the right, I don't mind as much having an inside forward playing on the left because I still have that balance with Shaw. But I think I don't think I'd want two inverted wingers, because I don't think United's midfield with Mainoo and whoever we buy is going to be defensively oriented enough to send both the fullbacks forward and rely on them for the width, like Liverpool did basically with Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, that they had two inverted forwards because they had a centre forward who came deep and got into midfield, Firmino, and then three just monstrous athletes charging about. And United's team isn't that. So I don't think they could get away with fullbacks high and wide and two inside forwards. I think that it will need one who's playing on their natural side. And so that's, whether if we decide that's going to be Garnacho, then fine, but then it affects who you purchase. And if Rashford were to stay and Garnacho were to play on the right, at that point, I'm not sure that Michael Olise would be the right player.
No, I think that's all fair commentary, especially on if you're going to drop 50, 60 million on a player, you probably want them to play. And if Rashford and Garnacho are both here at the club next season, that may well not be the case. I mean, I do think the balance of midfield, certainly defensive midfield, matters for how United play. I mean, if you do want to play two high fullbacks, then a central midfielder who can drop in to make a back three, like when the transition happens, is kind of important. And Casemiro obviously doesn't have the legs for that. So someone physical in the summer will be, I think, high on the priority list. If there's any money, of course. I mean, I guess there should be. Once it ticks over past June, there should be money again. And presumably United are going to try and make some big sales with Sancho and Greenwood and a couple others leaving the club as well. And I certainly get the impression, if you look at what INEOS have done at Nice, it's just change around the wage profile quite a bit. So that's why Varane and Casemiro might look to offload them for whatever fee, just to restructure some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mainoo can drop in. But one of the things I've found pleasing the last few games is he's not really doing so much of that. He's doing it when necessary, because I guess I was concerned that Ten Hag would just want him to be De Jong. And we don't want that. But he said a few weeks ago that he's got stuff going forward, and we'll be seeing that. And he is basically now the box-to-box guy. And so that affects obviously the player that we're going to buy instead of him. But even what it needs basically Casemiro, just 5 to 10 years younger. It needs someone who can clear up in front of the back four, take the ball off the defenders, but you also someone who can contribute going forward, because there'll be times when it will be Mainoo dropping in. Mm-hmm. And if we get the right player in that position, someone fast, strong, who can carry the ball and pass, then you'll see a very good team. As far as getting rid of so as far as getting rid of Casemiro and Varane goes, I've sort of torn on that one, because both the wages would be handily repurposed. But at the same time, having that winner's mentality around, especially if they're not first choices, because we're going to buy Varane's replacement this summer, whether he stays or goes. We're going to buy Casemiro's replacement, whether he stays or goes. And having these lads available as your first change or your rotation players is well worth having. And I would not easily discard that kind of experience, given a squad that basically has won fuck all, really, or competed for anything.
I mean, if I was keeping one of them, which, like, that is not the calculation, but if it was just one, I'd keep Varane rather than Casemiro, because I just don't see how Casemiro's contribution ticks up from here. But I could be totally wrong on that one. I just don't. It's been a year since he's been good, basically. Yeah,
I think that's right. I mean, we'll if Casemiro stays fit for the next month, we'll know, because what he does in that amount of time will tell us whether he's ready and able to compete for us. If he isn't, then obviously he gets flogged in the summer. And if he is, then you've got a decision to make, because if you're saying there's quite a lot of sellable players in it. Like, you're going to sell Pellistri, Wan-Bissaka, Van der Beek,
Sancho, just Greenwood, Van der Beek,
for whatever you get for them. But amongst those players, there's probably 60, 70 million quid there.
Well, Greenwood and Sancho should be ticking up to more than that between them. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
Greenwood's an interesting one because, I mean, he's doing all right in La Liga. there's some chatter about bigger sides being in for him. I don't know whether that's just agent talk or trying to create a market for him. I don't know the veracity of this story that went around saying United agreed a 20% sell-on with Getafe, which would be absolutely incredible for one season on loan somewhere. I guess they felt that was, if that's true, they had to do that in order to get someone interested. Seems a bit odd. We'll see whether that's true, because it'll be in the accounts after next one. So a while down the line. But
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. Super exciting stuff. There's a fee somewhere there. Sancho, he's on massive wages. So again, total package. I can't imagine United get anywhere near the fee they paid for him, but maybe half of it. So to someone,
he'd take half of it in a second.
Yeah, Dortmund's sporting director said today that they couldn't afford it. So it's not going to be.
They couldn't afford what?
To sign him permanently. So we'll see. So it looks like it won't be Dortmund unless that's a negotiating ploy. Anyway, that's all for the summer, isn't it? For now, I mean, it's another victory. Like, there's a few in a row now. It's starting to feel a bit better.
I think what is worth noting as well is that there seems to be just a bit of growing team spirit. Like Garnacho and Hojlund seem to be mates. And just that celebration sitting on the thing was nice because it was nice and because it could just a celebration, but also it looks like there's a bit of spirit starting to build and it's that kind of thing that enables them to win games that they shouldn't, which hopefully will come too. So yeah, I mean, it's not just the improving play, but it feels like things are on the right track now.
Yeah, after the Wolves game, I think I might have mentioned it on the pod, Hojlund was interviewed and he said they've been chatting about Mainoo and he's a generational talent. I'm like, way to hype the lad up. I mean, it'd be nice to keep our feet on the ground there. But yeah, there does seem to be a spirit building. I do agree with that. And
I don't have a problem with that, because I think that Mainoo reminds me a bit of Bellingham. Partly as a little bit as a player. Obviously, Bellingham's more physical, but he knows exactly how good he is, not because he's arrogant, although Bellingham is quite arrogant and gets sort of straying towards the very fucking arrogant side of very arrogant, I think. But with good reason. They can't pretend that they're not as good as they are, because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
They just have to know. And they both behave and play like they know how good they are. That why should I not do this? And that's kind of what both of them do. And the other player maybe reminds me quite a lot of Scholes, because he can do all the simple stuff, and doing the simple stuff well simple and easy are not synonyms. Doing the simple stuff doesn't mean you're doing easy stuff at all. It means you're doing the right stuff that you should do on the football pitch. But also, Mainoo can do the flashy stuff, like with the nutmeg the other day, but he'll only do it if it's the right thing to do. And that was the same with Scholes. You'd see him score with a back flick against West Ham because that was what that situation called for, but he won't do it gratuitously. And Mainoo seems a bit like that as well, that he knows what you have to do on the football pitch, and if it happens to be something flash, then he'll do it, and if it's a sideways pass 5 yards, then he'll do that.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Yeah.
One more thing I like is that if the ball needs to go back to the goalkeeper, it will. And previously, this was something that would be fucking annoying every time we did it, because you didn't trust the ability to work it back up the pitch. But now they have that ability to work it back up at the pitch. They're not scared to reset play by going back to the goalkeeper and building again. And that feels like a big improvement. Yeah.
I mean, if you have Onana, Lisandro and Mainoo as that kind of three building up, United's build-up is going to be a lot better for sure. For sure. I mean, whatever question marks are over Onana, he generally picks the right ball. On Mainoo, I mean, at youth levels, he's played in a lot of different positions. He's played wide, up front, and at sort of number 10, as well as the more standard box-to-box. Be a good question how Ten Hag... I mean, I don't know if we trust Ten Hag to manage younger players and develop them yet. I mean, there's still a TBD on that, isn't there? But it'd be interesting to see if he is the long-term manager, how he uses Mainoo, because being able to play in a number of different positions is useful, but we'd also like a clear idea what it is he brings. It feels like he's got too much to his game to just sit him at 6, though.
He's not. I think that we've now seen that's not going to happen. And what I like about the first 11 that we now have is it's not full of people that despise the ball. The person the only player who doesn't really want the ball is Raphael Varane. And he's Raphael Varane.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, he's not the best ball-playing centre-back you've ever seen, but he's certainly not the worst. But it can go to anyone on the pitch. You're not, when the ball goes, you don't like look outside, look wide and think, oh, fuck, is Wan-Bissaka? Is there anyone else there?
No, and I think that's right. And Rafa Varane's perfectly acceptable. He's around about the middle. If you look at the pack of progressive passes and pass completion of centre backs in the Premier League, he's like right in the middle of that pack, right? So he's not, yes, absolutely, he's not the best ball playing centre back ever, but he's perfectly acceptable there, and he's a good defender. He's just not reliably
He's
fit.
also almost unbeatable in the air, and in this particular team, that is very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. There was an interesting piece this week, since we're talking about transfers and stuff. Mullock in the Mirror said that Ten Hag was upset that he wasn't giving any funds in January, and this had been the second time this had happened.
What does upset mean in that context?
Yeah, I don't know. There was not very much detail in that piece, so it does it smacks of sort of agent talk, doesn't it?
Upset. I mean, Arteta was upset that people said he was going to take the Barcelona job. And again, like upset, like how does this manifest in these feelings of upset? Like, did you cry?
Hopefully, yeah.
I don't know. Like, what? How did this manifest? Other than you just totally getting on with your day, like it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trust Ten Hag with monopoly money, let alone real cash. So at this point, it's like he's 50-50 on whether his choices of players work out, and I don't think he'll be given that power ever again with the new management coming in. I mean, clearly...
No chance.
There will be a director of football appointed at some point. I mean, the takeover, or the partial takeover, will be ratified within the next couple of weeks, I imagine. I mean, they've had quite a long time on this now, the Premier League. It's not going to get political. It's just the numbers and the proof of funds and the standard processes. And shortly after that, they'll appoint a director of football. And obviously new CEOs coming in, and Ten Hag will never have that power to spunk 100 million on Anthony ever again.
I'd love to see Ten Hag spunking on Anthony. But in the meantime...
Jesus. You'd love to see that, would you? Yeah, specialist site there. Footballers jizzing on each other.com. Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he won't be allowed to decide who comes in the summer. And it's that, because I think that when Ten Hag came... United needed him as much as he needed them. That's probably less the case now. The football operation is being run by people who'll do it because it's sort of detoxified the job. If Ten Hag had failed at United, you'd be thinking, well, who in their right mind with prospects and options is going to take this job? Whereas now, if Ten Hag fails, it's not the same because the owners, the people that are running the football operation, are not effectively, deliberately hindering you anymore. So if Ten Hag says, well, yeah, I must have full control, then it's much easier for the board to say, see you in a bit.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. I mean, like whatever one thinks about the INEOS partial takeover and that whole process, I think it's clear that they are going to get some expert football people into the right positions. And United have not had that since 2013. And that will be a big change. For sure. And hopefully United are much smarter. I mean, we'll see this summer, but let's just imagine they will get the right players into this squad to take it on, restructure some of the wages, I imagine, and do some sensible buying and selling in the market again, which hasn't happened in forever. And, it'd be an awful lot better for it.
You look at the players that are available, and the thing, as we were going through them before, there's 100 million quid there, except you just know there won't be.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it will take quite a long time to unwind the damage that has been done. So both on the wages and the spending. I mean, as we said, we'll never get anywhere near Greenwood's top of the market value for reasons, because he's a toxic asset. So is Sancho for different reasons. And let's just hope there's nothing more in Jesus Christ. No more bad stories. Let's hope Nacho doesn't turn out to be a sex pest, right? So it'd be unfortunate.
But also, because if you think about the players we still need, we need, I think, a goalkeeper, a right back, at least one centre back, at least one midfield player, a winger, and at least one attacker. Maybe that the striker. If we just get one of all of those things, that's 6.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And yeah. I mean, if you sell Rashford, then you don't. That is the money. Rashford plus whatever the spends would be and whatever else you get from sales, that will be enough to buy everything you need urgently this summer.
All right. There isn't a game this midweek. They've got a whole week off. What are you going to do with yourself? They play Aston Villa next weekend. I will probably do a midweek pod and chat about stuff that's going on because there's always news with United. But Villa, kind of interesting side this season. Obviously, 8 points above United, deservedly so. I think they've been really consistent under Emery, who's got them playing like way more attacking football than I thought he would get them playing. I mean, given Emery's kind of history. But they're a good side.
Yeah, I think the thing with Villa was that even when Dean Smith was the manager, they had a lot of really good players. They spent a lot of money and they had really good players. And first he, then Gerrard, couldn't work out what formation to play and which of them to play. So there'd be a bad result. They change the formation, change the team or both. And they just keep doing it. And it comes to a point with any manager, like when you're in that situation, you just have to pick a lineup, pick a formation and stick to it. Because it's the continuity that will give you those kind of automatisms that make a football team look like a football team. And it doesn't matter if you think, well, we lost 1-0 and maybe I should play Buendia and not fucking Moussa Diaby or whoever. It's that you have to just settle and then you can start mucking about again. And that's what Emery did. I mean, I'm sure he's a much better coach than the other two as well. And he's obviously got great pedigree. So part of it is that. But it feels to me like the main thing is he turned up to the same squad that Gerrard had and had a lot of good players in it. And it's not just by drilling them or organising them. As I said, that I'm sure that's part of it. It's saying, okay, we're going to play like this and these are the people going to do it. And as it goes, the way that happens is not bad for the way United play or the way United can play, because if they're going to insist playing that high line, I mean, Newcastle just pickfucked them last week the same way with Anthony Gordon, absolutely killed them, and Guimaraes, someone who can get on the ball and pass it. And if they're going to play like that against United again, then they might find it difficult. I mean, they might also run United off the pitch like they did last season. And
yeah, I mean, that will be interesting because the Bruno Fernandes long diagonal or Mainoo's switch of play. I did notice actually Ten Hag was on the sideline today, kind of in trying to encourage Rashford and Garnacho to get a bit higher up because the switch was on, but it definitely will be against Villa. They've scored 18 goals more than United in the Premier League this season. That's absolutely criminal when you look at the comparative attacking resources available. That they've scored 18 goals more than United.
But as soon as United have got all the right bits in the right places, we've scored, what is it? Is it 4-3 and 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 10 goals in the last 3 games, and suddenly it doesn't look like scoring goals will be a problem anymore. I mean, obviously we haven't played the greatest opponents, but Wolves won 4-1 at Chelsea today from behind as well. Yeah. And we're playing well. They're not mugs. And I mean, Newport, obviously a different thing, but West Ham also, without Lucas Paquetá, who's a good player, but still like absolutely not mugs. And United beat them quite easily without playing well. So it does feel like that Villa game is winnable. We need to make sure we don't lose it, I would say. But if it is winnable, then we're right back in the mix for the top 4.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously lose to Villa and then it's an 11-point gap and you don't imagine that's going to be like caught up over the second half of this season. United probably need to win, what? It's normally low 70s getting the top 4.
Points. Yeah, 70 points probably get you
high
top 5
60s for 5.
Enough.
Yeah, so what's that? Another 10 wins or something this season. So it's quite a lot given like United's record first half. I'd say with Villa, kind of interesting, both tactically how they played, but also like they're really strong in midfield. Luiz and McGinn, excellent seasons. Both been excellent. Obviously, Ollie Watkins scoring goals as well. Bailey's been pretty good, wide.
They've just got options. Diaby's a good player.
Yeah.
I think, if just looking at the table now, I mean, Villa we're kind of assuming also that Villa are going to keep winning and Tottenham are going to keep winning, and that's not necessarily going to be the case either. I mean, Tottenham really got away with one against Brentford. They played well for 10 minutes and scored 3 goals, but Brentford's second goal was coming when it came, and it looked like they might get an equaliser. Tottenham aren't good. And if a sensible second half of the season from here, we should finish above them.
Yeah, 6-point gap to Spurs, 8 to Villa. I mean, it's a lot, no doubt about it, but United don't lose another 9 games in the second half of the season, then it's quite possible. Extraordinary we're saying that. Yeah, exactly.
And this is a problem with Ten Hag, whatever happens, and I know all the excuses, the number of injuries, the players that had those injuries, the number of times he's had to change the team, the number of times he's had to change the back four, all of that. And how can you play Ten Hag football when your defence is for the people with club foot? That is a problem. And yet it shouldn't have been this bad. And you actually need to have every single player in the right place for it to work. And I guess it feels like we're going to see, because it doesn't seem like we're going to see Martinez for a bit. So can we play football without Martinez?
It's a big question.
Because we haven't so far this season.
Yeah, both defensively, but also in the build-up. He's a real big player, and it's just going to be a massive blow if he's out for a while. They'll presumably send him for a scan really soon, and we'll find out.
Because you could put Shaw there, but he's making Rashford's so much better with Shaw, and he's just making a difference. But if you've got Malassi coming back, you could put Shaw there and have your left-footed passer. But if you don't, then it's back to Maguire.
Yeah.
Who won one colossal tackle today, but got absolutely busted twice. And doesn't have the pace to play with the line where United need it to be. And it won't happen, but I'd be thinking about giving Big Willie a go or playing someone else there, because I can't. I just can't. Like, I'm trying to feel positive and hopeful, and seeing Harris Maguire arouses the opposite of that.
I tell you what got me aroused today, talking about that. Kalvin Phillips giving away the ball for the third and then jogging back, the slowest jog back recovery effort you've ever seen. I'm like, I think Pep might have been right about that, lad.
What Grandma Vera says. What's that her name? Granny Vera? His granny became famous on Twitter for like giving him advice and stuff. It's actually really cute.
What's the advice? Stop eating pies.
His transfer is very, very dodgy. His transfer to City is one of those ones that you look at it and you think, wow, that is exceedingly dodgy. When he went to City, there was a few clubs that were prepared to pay for him. Villa were prepared to pay more, and Newcastle offered more than City eventually took. They were offered like 50 something. They ended up taking 42. And City had, Daniel Harris understands, tapped him up to leave the January before, which he may or may not have known about. But Victor Orta definitely knew about it. And he sent Leeds' then head of comms to try and persuade the Phillips family to switch agents, which he eventually did. He left Kevin Sharp, the agent he'd been with since he was a kid, just before the big payday, and signed with someone else. And he'd been with Kevin Sharp since he was 13, I think. And what ends up with that is like City say that they paid 55 million, but we know that Leeds got 42 million, and there's 12.5 million knocking about there. But where exactly is that? And then Jack Harrison goes on loan to City, and instead of buying him, the club Leeds agree another loan, a third-year loan. Why would you do that with injury risk? It's just, the whole thing just feels kind of like City wanted the player and were involved with money going to Leeds that may or may not be on the Leeds books, that would have taken it up to the amount that other people were prepared to pay. Yeah, that would be my hypothesis, that some money in that situation, some money in that deal isn't where it is meant to be.
Are you suggesting City might have been going around regulations or paying agents off book, or maybe there's a shell company in Abu Dhabi that was suddenly footballers had equity in and money was being funneled through it or something like that? I mean, that definitely doesn't sound like City. I mean, they're fully above board and they've never done anything wrong ever.
It's actually more, it's more a Leeds thing, actually.
Where did the money go? Yeah,
there was a lot of stuff going on at Leeds. Have they sold now? I can't even remember, to the American 49ers people.
Yeah, I think I think the rest. Well, I mean, they were partial owners anyway. I think the rest of it has been taken over by 49ers Enterprises.
The end of that period, Leeds made some very curious signings from teams in Germany. Being, who was it? There's two clubs in Germany, and I forget who they are, who don't have to announce their accounts because they're privately owned. I think one is Hoffenheim, and can't remember who the other one is.
It's Leipzig, isn't it? They're not.
It must be Leipzig. Yeah. It's like, so they bought, because I thought it was Leverkusen for a second, but it isn't.
No. Hoffenheim are generally hated in Germany because they're one of the non-50+ ones, and they're like a village team that came good through large amounts of money.
Yeah. I think that they bought a couple of players off of those clubs who weren't good and aren't good particularly. There is Sinistera maybe and one other. And
was it Leeds that were involved in that deal where they took someone on loan with an obligation to buy, and I forget the player now.
Sorry, it's not Luis Sinistera who came from Feyenoord, but they did buy a couple of players, one from Leipzig and one from Hoffenheim, and I forget who they are. But yeah, those they bought from the two clubs who don't need to show accounts, which may or may not be telling.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Backers, stay tuned. We'll catch everyone else next time.
Peace.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Como madre orgullosa, siempre quiero lo mejor para mi familia. Y los únicos huevos que compro son Eggland's Best. ¿Casualidad? ¡Para nada! No importa cómo los cocines, siempre están frescos y deliciosos. Además, tienen más vitaminas D y E y un 25% menos de grasas saturadas que los huevos comunes. ¿Por qué conformarse con menos cuando puedes tener lo mejor? Eggland's Best. Mejor sabor, mejor nutrición, mejores huevos. Visita egglandsbest.com para obtener más información.